You're listening to Get to Know World of Warships, a podcast created by Bogsy and Synpax.
Hello everybody, welcome back. It is the middle of KOTS right now, if that's something that you're paying attention to. We're very excited. This is Get to Know World of Warships, hosted by Bogsy and Borla. Hello, Borla.
Hey Bogsy, how are you today?
I'm good. I just got my Johnson & Johnson vaccine shot, and I haven't keeled over yet, so I think I'm going to be fine.
Well, Bill Gates is single now, and he's going to know exactly where you are at all times.
Did you? Okay, the best Bill Gates meme I've seen so far after the announcement that Bill and Melinda Gates are getting divorced. Hi, we're now People Magazine. Is it's a picture of Bill Gates sitting down at a computer, and then it says like looking for single vaccinated women in your area, and then he hits click, and then all of these stock photos of women kind of looking at their arms, and like the little arm like
5G icon over
yeah
it.
Yeah, exactly, like
I saw that.
He's looking for single vaccinated women and pulls up all the ones that were vaccinated. It's cute. So today we're going to do something that I think we haven't done before, which I'm excited about, which is talk to a KOTS team that was put together out of multiple clans. I don't think we've done that before. We've talked KOTS before, but yeah.
I don't think the combination of what we're looking at today, where we have two different clans who joined forces, not in the same community, joined forces to make a KOTS team. KS-A, no relation to any of the Kill Steel community, if anybody's wondering. It's a KS-A group.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and bring two reps in from the two clans that were fused, that did the fusion dance, became Super Saiyans. And then we'll talk a little bit about their KOTS experience. We also have some info. I mean, the big news today, of course, was that there's a submarine announcement regarding submarines and ranked. There's also apparently an event that's going to happen over the summer involving super battleships, which my mouth just watered when that happened. So we'll get to that a little later in the episode. But for now, we're going to go ahead and introduce you to Raptor from the Red Sky clan and Skills Toen from the Komodo Syndicate clan. So let's go ahead and start with Skills. How are you, Skills?
Afternoon.
Hi. And Raptor, give us the sound of your voice, will you?
Why, hello there.
Very nice, gentlemen. Okay, so let's start with Skills at this point. Skills, you are the leader of the Komodo Syndicate group of clans, right?
Am.
Okay, wonderful. And so give us just a little background before we talk about KSA, the KOTS team. Let's talk a little bit about TKS. Can you give me a little rundown?
Sure can. The fun part of the history of TKS is where it started. I grabbed it from a forum post from Kev02's Accord. He basically said that TKS was a meme clan trying to meme people. They were done doing their memeing, and that he was going to give it up. And so I volunteered my name. I said, give it to me. I joined the clan, and immediately he dropped it, and it was just me and empty space. And what's cool about it is since then, we didn't try to meme people with it. We actually tried to reverse the script, grab regular people, get better, and turn it around on the purple players. And that's been kind of what we've been trying to do since the beginning. And the last two seasons, we hit Typhoon. We actually decided to go competitive after KOTS 11, after actually like at KS's first KOTS. TKS was like, you know what, it's more fun being competitive, so we're going to make that decision, make the switch. And that's the history of KS. Wonderful. And TKS.
And actually, yeah, I think that I had noticed this because you and I have we have some mutual friends. I originally came from a clan called the Bloody Buccaneers, TBB, and I've had some reps from them on and in the past here for the podcast. And so our mutual friend, Merc RS, was a big assistance to you guys in forming a more competitive stature, right?
Yes. Merc really came in just as we were building into that Typhoon clan, and merked with us with his CVs and got a few jokes. But it was that and a couple of players that came in during that point really solidified the team that ended up breaking, cracking the egg in Typhoon. We got right in. We lost our 2 games right away, but we were green, and that set a tone. That set a tone that we liked what we saw, we liked how it felt, and we were going to do it again.
Very good. Very good. Well,
I just noticed on your clan page, kind of a fun fact is TKS, when you went into TKS and began building, that was the same week that Lego Party Australia and myself split out and began Killsteel.
no way.
So that was, it was within a few days of each other. I just realized that when I saw the clan transfer thing for skills, that it was just a few days apart from when Lego Party and I started Killsteel. That's kind of fun. So you have the TBP little thing, and it was at the same time.
Fun fact, by the way, about Lego Party Australia. Lego Party is a KSC member, but he didn't choose that name. Lego Party had his name randomly generated by, I think, Wargaming before I think now if they don't like your name, they just change you to renamed user XYZ. But I think if I'm not mistaken, he got his name reset to some arbitrary thing, the way that like Twitch creates a clip and it just has a bunch of random words. I think Lego Party Australia was the random name they gave him. He's just like, great, I'm keeping that.
Yeah, you know what? In that name change, he won't tell you that. He's very proud of his karma. He has almost 1,400 karma, and I swear that 1,300 of it is because he has Lego in his name.
Yeah, could very well be. Well, before we talk about the KOTS Team KSA, let's get to know Raptor from Red Sky. How are you, Raptor?
Good. How are you?
Good. You mind giving us a little overview of Red Sky?
Sure. We're a Storm clan predominantly. We made Storm 1. I think we ended in Storm 2, but we're, as we like to say, we're serious fun. We have a lot of mixed players on there, from a little more competitive to just the casual. So we keep it fun, and we try to do the best we can with the different members we have, and go from there.
Sure, very good. So I guess let's just jump right into it. The reason why we caught, we sort of caught the attention of this was because specifically I was casting the very first day of KOTS, and the first game that I got to witness was KSA. Which can you remind me? I'm so sorry, I already forgot what KSA actually stands for.
So it's technically KS, and we did it last year as the same combo group. So it's Komodo Sky, and this is the first time we actually had enough people interested between the clans to do 2 groups. So the Dash A and Dash B were essentially Group A, Group B.
Okay, I gotcha. So KSA, in the very first round of the qualifiers, went up against QQ7. Most of you listening probably know what QQ7 is. They've been on the podcast as well to talk. Moose on the Loose. Yeah, Moose on the Loose, I think is... was it Moose on the Loose?
I think it is.
There's another moose.
Great name.
There's another moose that hangs out in our Discord, and I'm afraid that I got the wrong moose. Anyway, QQ7
moose
is
on the Loose. Yeah, the Moose on the Loose is an XO in QQ7.
Okay, the Moose is Loose is the guy that hangs out in our Discord. Okay, got it. Moose on the Loose and QQ7 are a stalwart Typhoon Hurricane clan. They're part of the 07 community of clans, and they're very talented. They also had some very talented people on their team for KOTS. So I think it's safe and non-disparaging to say that in this matchup, they were the heavy favorites to win, and you guys actually managed to keep them honest. You dominated for the first half of the match until about halfway through, when QQ7 started to sort of turn things around. But you guys held your own, and it went literally up to the last second, I believe, and then an absolutely clutch kill on one of the QQ7 battleships put you guys over the points with like 2 seconds remaining to get a kill. It was just extraordinary. It was the first highlight reel of this KOTS for me, and you guys absolutely deserved it, because QQ7 is no joke. They're an excellent team. So that's sort of what caught our attention and got me to want to bring you guys on. So let's start with Raptor here, since we started with Skills Tone first. How exactly is it that you guys decided to come up with a KOTS team out of the 2 of your clans?
I Skills will keep me honest here, but I think it was initially with the leaders 36 Fink and Skills were introduced from one of our Red Sky clan members, and then just over the course of discussions last COTS, we're like, well, we got a lot of people interested, but we don't have enough in each clan to make it an individual team. So we're like, hey, we scrimmage each other and have fun, so let's partner up. And then that led to last year's COTS team to be made and kind of figuring this all out. And then, of course, this year being the second time we did it, we tried to be a little more structured and a little more around the competitive side, which seemed to work out, and we kept going from there.
So you guys said you had a Part A and a Part B, two different teams. How did you split the groups into Part A and Part B? Was it the more competitive guys in one and the more casual guys in the other, or was it just randomly who signed up, or how did that work?
Yeah, it was a collaborative effort between the two battle commanders. Myself and Merrick were voted as the commanders between each respective clan. So we decided that the A team would be people that have done COTS before, so the pressure and the experience of like, oh my gosh, I'm on a big stage. So that became like the super team, and what people that said they could dedicate the time, because obviously COTS is a competitive event, so you have to dedicate time to it, as well as, you know, we want to see how far we can go. And then the Bravo team or Bravo squad was basically people that have never played COTS and give them the experience, but also it was made up of plenty of people that could keep it competitive. So between both squads, any of them had a great chance to do good, and just depends on who you draw.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to make teams. And if I could have a little aside, Bogsy, with the two teams that we have in Kill Steal, you may have noticed that a couple of my wonderful KSF guys have chosen to change their in-game names to OnlyFans Borla 78 and OnlyFans GM Schwartz.
Yes, I saw that.
So on this past weekend on Sunday, I asked my wife, who's never really had a whole lot of interest in Warships or watching or anything. I'm like, hey, you're hanging out in the living room. I could like stream the Twitch we're being put on. Our first match was Sea Raptor and Zath, and so she's like sitting on the couch watching it, a few minute delay, and I walk out after the match and she's like, why did they say you're not the OnlyFans Borla, that you're the original Borla?
The OG Borla.
So I had to explain why there would be OnlyFans version of me circling around the internet.
Well, that's always prime for an uncomfortable conversation then. And she saw that, she was watching it on your TV?
Yeah, because our TV has a smart TV, has a browser,
Sure.
so she's watching it. Zath and Sea Raptor and 75 inches of Samsung glory.
I'm gonna tell Sea Raptor that. He's gonna love that.
No, but that's good that you guys figured it out, and then you can have the two teams, one based on competitive, one based on the guys who might be newer. And it is a cool feeling, right, to be broadcast on Twitch. What did you guys think afterwards, having a match that got a ton of attention, and Oscons and Bogsy have one of the bigger audiences too of the casters? How did that feel for your guys?
So I think we are lucky to have had you guys broadcast that, but we were just living the moment. We were just, at least for me, I ran through the house. Like we did it. And I mean, I think one of the things that I find interesting in the replay is that moment at which the kill comes in. There's like a moment of silence of like what just happened, and then the realization coming in that KSA pulled it off, and oh my gosh, it sent goosebumps, through me, and the team was just going crazy over it on the Discord. Raptor, what do you think?
Oh no, I mean, yeah, I mean, the day after that game, people were in our Discord saying, "Oh my gosh, I just watched it again, and I'm getting chills." So I mean, from a standpoint, we knew every team that we're gonna face, right, is gonna be very competitive, and beating any team, even whether they're the top team or middle team, it's still one of those like, holy cow, we did it, yay!
Right. I mean, yeah, it's a big deal. So I am curious now to know sort of if you're going to come up with a team out of multiple clans for KOTS. I can immediately imagine several difficult things. Number one being, well, how do you decide who's going to be in charge? How do you sort of walk that little line between it's really this clan's or it's really that clan's? Did you encounter any issues like that, or was it pretty copacetic?
I would say it was.
Well, there were definitely things that need to be discussed up front. This being the second season, we had a little bit more understanding of what it took. The first season, some of those things were decided organically. Basically, what ended up happening was we didn't have enough players in TKS to field a team. Our Sky didn't, but mutually we did. And so by that, it was like we had 10 players interested, nine to fill. So that's kind of how the team got picked. And then I became battle commander, not because I was chosen, but because I was putting in the work. And that was the first season that we had realized how much work goes into KOTS.
It's a lot.
Lots of prepping. You have to, because of the fact that you know what map you're going into, why not figure out what ships you want to bring? Why not, it's not like clan battles where you're just kind of like, you've got your 7 ships, you hit go, and you pray that they work on the map. There's a lot to decide on, including deployments. And so for this season, what was interesting about it is we had an idea of what was going in. We had the players. And then what we decided to do up front is we named 2 players, Raptor and Merrick, who had some time on their hands to battle command. And then what we did was we let one emerge. And the person who was going to emerge it was just going to happen. They were going to be the ones that were sitting down and doing all the work, preparing the maps, planning deployments, and setting up the lineups. And I'm happy to say Raptor did an amazing job this season. It's Raptor who stepped up in that role.
Well, congratulations to hear that, Raptor. It's like our guy for TNG was Antonius Jones, and he did. I know exactly how much time and effort and thought and energy he put into our strategies and our preparation, and it would have literally killed me. So I can only imagine that you put in an enormous amount of work yourself.
Yeah, someone had to do it, and I was the lucky winner behind door number 1. So I had no qualms doing it. I stepped up to do it. It was also, it's kind of a fun challenge, right? Because you have to think not how to play yourself, but how do you play as a team. And while there may be one commander that comes up with the idea, it's really kudos to all the KS team to agree to follow it, right? That's half the battle right there. Is if we all go left and someone goes right, it doesn't exactly work.
So what lessons learned from last time? You mentioned last time you had got a team together, you figured out how much work it was, and this time it was a little smoother figuring out how to delegate things. What are some of the key lessons learned that maybe you could teach to somebody or tell somebody to look out for if they were trying to do this for the first time?
You want it skills? You want me to got it? It's rock, paper, scissors. I would say I think the first starts with the clan leadership, like Skills and Fink from both clans agreeing that this needs to be a partnership. So I think really that's the foundation to doing it. And then, as Skill says, is that having a group that says this is delegation of roles, and then after that, whoever is the commander they have to want to do it. In this case, I wanted to do it, and I was okay doing it. And it's just you have to go. Don't try to be like every other team out there, because if you see how they prep or what they do, you can't match that. That's their style. You have to pick how you're going to learn the tactics for your just different players. Is also what can you do to keep the team motivated and engaged? Because if you're just going through, hey, I need to practice here and I'm going to schedule 5 hours here, and it doesn't work that way. So it's a balancing act between figuring out what works for your team, getting buy-in by everyone, and then make it fun. Because if you're not making the competitive part fun, no one's gonna play.
Well, that's that's for sure. I think we've all figured that out.
Wait, this is for fun?
The spreadsheet said so. Yes.
Nobody let Borla know that this is supposed to be fun. Otherwise, I won't get him to do as much work as he does. Okay. All right.
I've got to tell the KS guys not to listen to this episode.
Lego Party has no idea how to have fun anyway. It's okay.
To add what Raptor was saying, we were very, being at the second season, especially in terms of KSA, we were very upfront with the time commitment. In a collaboration like what we do, one of the challenges is getting to know the play styles of the players that are on the team, being it that they're not in the same clan. Now we do work with each other when we need an extra player. So we do know, like, I play with Raptor a lot actually.
Mm-hmm.
So we do know some of the players, but Raptor had not played with, let's say, Big Stick, which is another player, or Sejuk, which is another player in our clan. And so, like, getting to know those players takes time. And so we made sure that the players that we're going to play, we had several surveys for their commitment and their commitment level. And that determined their ability, to be picked for the team, and gave us an opportunity, because we picked players who had the ability, the availability, to play them. So now that we had teams, we were able to scrimmage with them or talk through them, or even we set up channels in the Discord so that we could div up with them and get to know them. And that's, again, that's a time commitment, but it's a necessary part if you want to be competitive, or at least make it to day 2, because it's clear that once you hit day 2, the difficulty level takes a huge step.
And you guys did make it to group stage 1, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then you guys, you got, I don't know if I have my schedule here. You guys ended up getting knocked out by, wasn't it a clan that you guys are actually pretty friendly with? MHG.
TKS and MHG are allies. Actually, we work with each other as well. And the, KS has 2 seasons in a row has scrimmaged them for KOTS, and so we were quite both happy and upset that we were going to kick each other out of the tournament. And it came down to literally a shot on loop to go either way on the 3rd game.
Oh wow!
Kudos to Nuke and MHG. Excellent game. Awesome team they have. They're always challenging us to do better.
Yeah, MHG actually went on to face Neon, which is a clan that's been around in Typhoon and even Hurricane at times, I believe, and they actually beat them, went on to group stage 2, where MHG did end up going up against a couple of very strong teams and getting knocked out. But congratulations to them for making group stage 2, if any of them are listening. So, yeah, it's really interesting to hear how you guys sort of did that. It just sounds like a lot of, socially developed connections, and then a desire for something a little bigger in terms of, a more competitive KOTS team, and then sort of using those social connections to say, hey, can we do this together? Is that a good way to surmise it, you think?
I would say so, yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it was born out of need. It was born out of need and kept growing.
Right.
Again, that first KOTS team, individually we didn't have enough, but together we did. And the goal on the first time was just to make it to day 2, which we did. And then we got wrecked by RNG.
apes together strong.
That Wallace Stalin.
Yeah.
Wallace Stalin got us good that first year.
Wallace Stalin.
Yep. There were some other factors to that one that happened, but yeah.
There were a lot of factors that have happened in this KOTS to go around, so we don't blame you guys one bit for that. But well, that's really interesting. I'm glad we got to hear a little bit about how that formed and how your guys' experience was, and it's always exciting too to Go ahead, Borla, please.
Yeah. So what do you guys plan for the future? Do you see people in your clan who have watched you guys been able to play on Twitch broadcasts that are getting carried by people that have a lot of viewers and having a little bit of success? Do you think you're going to have more people in each clan become interested and do your own thing? Do you guys continue to plan to partner up and run joint teams like this? How do you see KOTS-13 going?
Well, I've already started planning. I think one of the things is preparation. So lessons learned is start your effort if you're going to play COTS as soon as you can, because then you can start your planning and getting everyone to discuss it, because a lot of it, again, is team buy-in and discussion. So doing that is kind of the key, and the sooner you can start that, like any competitive event, whether it's COTS or in life, the better you're off you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Well, gentlemen, I'd like to ask you to join us in discussing a little bit of news. As we mentioned towards the beginning of the episode, there's been some news. The new episode of Waterline from Wargaming's official channel came out today, and well, yeah, really, what was mentioned was specifically a summer event including super battleships. I'm forgetting the names. One is the Hanover, which is basically one of the German H-class super battleships that were put into...
Satsuma is the other one.
Satsuma, which is actually a large tangerine. Tiny tangerine, sorry.
Or a Yamato with more bigger guns, but yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a Shikishima, I think, with more guns, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it's got 4 twin turrets of 510s.
Jeez. So those were announced, as well as the next stage of submarines. Now, so I guess let's just have a little roundtable discussion about this, because I have some feelings specific. Let's talk about the easy one. Let's talk about the super battleships. They're saying they're going to do a game event. It's not like these super battleships are suddenly just going to be dropped into randoms. So these super battleships, which are, I mean, what do you guys? They were a little sparse in the details, other than just they're battleships with gigantic guns. What do you guys like? Borla, what's your first impression of this? I mean, do you think this is going to be good? Do you think this is going to be bad?
So I have a few things. First of all, I believe by super battleships, they're talking about the displacement and the gun size, not an entirely new class. Like, I think we're, as you mentioned, just talking about a Shikishima with more guns. I think in game they'll fit in the battleship class of games, or of ships. But the two parts that I don't like is I don't think it's necessary to keep going up bigger gun calibers. The other thing is this adjustment firing mechanic, specifically for the new super battleships, where essentially you're going to get rewarded for firing more and more often. And if you keep firing as soon as you reload, then you're going to get gameplay bonuses, such as maybe main battery reload speed, or
right.
Who knows? It could be more dispersion, because everybody loved Deadeye, better dispersion. So like that kind of thing. I think it makes it too gimmicky, because high level battleship play, high tiers, skilled battleships are not about puking out the maximum number of shells every time you're reloaded. It's about having the good shots, being in the right position to take advantage when somebody makes a mistake. You may hold shots for a few seconds. Like, this adjustment fire progress bar is going to be counter to that type of play. And then with great big huge shells and more guns, you are discounting the value of people who have good angling and good positioning, because it's just going to blow right through it.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Raptor, what's your hot take on super battleships?
I think it's a gimmick. I'm gonna be blunt, right? It's a gimmick to get more people involved in the game, just because Wargaming obviously doesn't listen to the community or you guys as CCs. I mean, let's be blunt. I'm known.
It's okay. No, we want your opinion, please.
So it's kind of sad. So from a business standpoint, okay, I get it. It's something cool. You can advertise super battleship, come play, earn achievements, spend money, which is guaranteed, and you become a super battleship player, and you're gonna be dropped in randoms after getting your tokens or whatever they said it was. but how is that improving a game that has so much potential to do scenarios more? There's so much they could do and balance the game and offer more game modes that stay like Big Hunt, and just is another mode that they're going to say, go play, and then take it away because we're giving you submarines that you can't shoot.
Right. So you see it basically as just a test of a gimmick, right?
Pretty much. It's something they're wasting resources and energy on versus making the game better to give you different modes, like, you know, better matchmaker, that tier A is not always up tiered, or there's better battleship balances. I mean, if you look at, I can show you my last ones and stuff like that. So super battleships, well, that might be a fun gimmick. Make it a separate mode or some, you know, give other features. It's not going to make the game better. It's just a chance to sell more money on a gimmick.
All right, so Wargaming put super battleships on the menu and then put it on a plate in front of Raptor, and Raptor pushed it away. Fair enough. Skills, how about you? What's your take on this?
Some of the later decisions that Wargaming have had, I worry a little bit because of what they started with, which was trying to hammer out this this game where it's methodical, strategic, and deals with ships that are historical. People are buying stuff in the game because they want the Yamato, they want the Missouri, they want those World War II ships, and the average age of my clan's 40, and some of the 67-year-olds served on some of these ships, and they can't stop talking about they're shooting little VW bugs out of their turrets every 45 seconds. You know, I mean, the history and the size of the shells and all that is what I hear my clan talking about. So when you start to jump that barrier and you start to go into gimmicky game land, you're talking to a different set of people. You're talking to those who like COD. You're talking to those who like what's that other very famous game?
Is it a shooter?
Yeah, the shooters. And this is kind of
Counter-Strike, maybe?
Counter-Strike or the one where you're pinned against everyone and the borders come in on you.
Oh, you're talking about
Fortnite.
a battle royale like Fortnite or PUBG, right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
So like where the skins matter and the gameplay is kind of like, you just kind of go around shooting each other. When you get some of these gaming type gimmicks in here, you're actually changing your demographic. Now I get this is about making money, but you're kind of alienating the established group of core players that you've got as soon as you keep adding those gimmicks.
There's a tough balance between new content and having the old content not have power creep impact it, or balancing things like you talked about earlier. It was talked about earlier. I think Skills mentioned it, the matchmaking and things like that. Whatever you can do to improve what's already there, I think is good for the players who have been around a long time, but the new content may lure new people in. And I think that's kind of where Wargaming's stuck between the two choices. If they dedicate a limited amount of resources to fixing perceived problems versus creating new content, then there's some people who are going to continue to be unhappy with even the fixes or complain about it. Or, I think it's interesting when you hear the CV complaints, and CVs are not balanced, but they also don't dev strike you 2 minutes into the game and then dev strike another person 2 more minutes into the game, like the old RTS one. So I think the issue that people have with CVs is there's just more of them in population than there used to be. Kind of forget how bad it was before when you had a super uniform CV versus somebody who didn't know what they were doing.
I hated the RTS CVs. I absolutely hated it.
Yeah, but that's my point, is it's difficult to balance. What do you do? Go back through all the old content and tweak everything, or keep pumping out new content? And I think most of us who've been around a long time would like to see stuff more balanced. Those Wargaming, I think, wants to look for new things, like Raptor said, to sell, to keep money coming in.
I think you guys are right about that. And actually, I noticed something specific, which was, you remember how a few weeks ago they sometime in the last few weeks, they released, like in an official post, they released the info, some of the data from the Big Hunt event, and they basically said, they showed you, here's how many, player versus player kills there were, here's how many creeps were killed. I just called them creeps. Here's how many of the PvE monsters were killed. Here's how much of the resource was collected. Just to sort of give you an idea of, this was somewhat popular. They won't say this is how many games were played, but they will say, here's the in-game statistics to sort of give you an indicator of how popular it was. And I was actually surprised. It looked like it was more popular than I had assumed it was. It's not really my play style, but I took Big Hunt to be their attempt at testing out a battle royale game type, like a PUBG. Like how can you make a game mode in World of Warships that simulates PUBG or Fortnite or what have you? But I thought that's what they were doing. They were testing out the battle royale, game type. And
Big Hunt was a good mode. I mean, that was definitely fun.
Did you like it?
Oh yeah, I played a lot with a bunch of our
Okay.
guys. We were in there and you had fun and you div up and you make ships. So it's a different mode, because if you die in that, you're like, okay, I died, go back to port and immediately launch, and you can keep having fun with it.
Sure.
It wasn't one of those where you're worried about letting your div down or your team down. So having more modes, or even the super battleship, it's not a problem. It's just, you have to remember new content, yes, but also fix issues, or like even the matchmaker, or give options to what has been out there. Says, hey, I'll wait an extra minute to not be the only tier 8 in a tier 10 match. Stuff like that.
Fair
Just
enough,
little
sure.
things.
So here's my question, because Boyle and I talked to Ashley, aka Ashley, not too long ago, who has a big community, and we asked her what did her community think about the Big Hunt game mode and then just other game modes in general. And I think one of the things we came up with, plug, go listen to it, is that the rewards that are available based on your play and your success in that game mode oftentimes have a major effect on whether or not you play it. Like, Big Hunt was not a big draw for me because there were some tier 8 perma camos at the end. I actually really like perma camos. Those are a major draw for me because I appreciate the effort that goes into the artwork. For those of you who don't have the Hyuga, the new tier 7 Japanese battleship, it has one of the coolest camos I've ever seen. The special camo that went for it. It's just gorgeous. But like,
Claimer, you're talking to a guy who has the palm tree Atlanta and the steel Yamato.
I also have the palm tree camo for the Atlanta and the steel Yamato. I spent 10,000 steel on the Yamato camo because I'm an idiot, but I still like I still like the Hyuga camo. But the last separate event that I really got excited for was Savage Battles. It was like the garbage. It was the 4v4v4, I feel like, or maybe 3v3. I don't remember what it was, but it was the destroyers that went fast and launched torpedoes on the garbage planet. It was very much like a battle royale style, and the reward at the end of that, if you played enough, was the Benham. That's a good reward. Like, gimme ship, gib ship now, please. So Skills, what do you think? I mean, what kind of reward needs to be at the end of a separate battle to get you to want to play it?
Well, I think you hit it. The Benham was a fun reward, and I remember I actually spent $20 to bridge the gap too. I thought that was a fun event, and I don't mind that it was a separate game mode. I think I would have minded if those gimmicks that were in that event made it into the normal game. So
fair enough, yeah.
That's where my worry lied, and you could argue that Venom kind of bridged that gap a little bit, but with its Torp spew.
Yeah.
But at the same token, I do like the game as it is. I like the methodical style of the game, and so I'm more of the purist when it comes to the game. I wanted to build up a clan because I like games like chess and I like RTSs, and I found it fascinating that we could field a team and I could be a battle commander of 8 pieces on the field that all have their own brain, which is different than an RTS where I'm I've got things that are AI controlled, and I tell it to go places. And so you have to deal with all those things, and you're going against a team that deals with all those things as well. And so, anyways, what I don't want to, I'm more about the methodical nature of the game. And so these other game modes, they're cool only because you get to relax. The game, if you take it, if you take it very seriously, you can stress out over it. And so you lose that chance to take a step back, have a beer, and relax. And
stress
so
out
when
over
you do have
Warships?
these
I don't know what
modes,
you're talking about, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
This was not at all a stressful weekend for us.
yeah,
I'm kidding.
COTS, right? You can and so like
just unfastened Boxy's straitjacket.
Everybody watch out.
you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So those game modes make it easy to drink a beer and then just get in the chat room and just talk smack to each other, which is a lot of what I like doing with the clan in random battles as well. And like you just get that chance to just shoot the shit.
Yeah,
you
shoot
know?
the ship. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's it.
The big one though, more than super battleships in another mode, is the idea of submarines, which they are now going to have a test this summer. They're going to put submarines in ranked. What do you think about that, Raptor?
As long as I can kill them, I'm fine. But I think submarines it needs to be a separate option. Like if you're gonna do randoms, it's ships and carriers, and submarines is if you want to do it. Just because the dynamic of submarines, if you're in a battleship, there's no counter. I mean, CVs you have to struggle with. How do you make it?
One of the announcements, so they are adjusting some things about submarines before they put them into ranked. They are changing, instead of having an oxygen meter that the sub can surface and refill and go back down, they're going to have a battery charge that under normal circumstances is finite. So you can only use it so much during the battle. So you have to be on the surface for a certain amount of time. You got to plan it out, or you just won't be able, there'll come a point in the battle where you have to come to the surface. They also are adding anti-submarine warfare to a bunch of battleships and cruisers. We don't know which ones or what that ASW will look like, but there are going to be more options for bigger ships to counter submarines than we saw before.
I would still challenge the fact, okay, you have the counter, but the other wild card part to this, right, is homing torpedoes that find your citadel.
Yeah,
So
no, I'm not a fan. I'm just letting you know.
I know.
I'm arguing for it, yeah.
Well, I mean, again, adding content I'm not against. It's just the content I personally would like to see is more like, hey, you play only World War II ships that were actually built, and that's your random mode. Or I'll wait for a tier 8 match or tier 9 or only tier 10 match. I'll wait the 5 minutes it takes. Stuff like that. Adding submarines to already what feels to be you're on your podcast here. We're all kind of like, why are we doing this? We need to fix other things. Where's the balance? And submarines feel like they're going to throw things out of balance for a while. And I think people will eventually get bored because the gameplay from the last tests we did it was really hot to trot, and then people stopped.
Yeah. What do you think, Skills?
As a clan commander, I worry about two things with subs. One is when CVs got changed over from RTS to the way it is now, we went and we lost about 60% of our players. They just went AFK.
Whoa.
And so with subs coming out, there's probably going to be some shed as to players who just don't want to deal with it. Which, as a clan commander, that's like, oh gosh, all right, who am I going to lose? And they don't tell you; they just drop. They just, we have a 30-day inactivity in our clan because of that, because people just literally just, ghost the game. They're done with it.
Yeah.
So that's one, and then the other one you guys have already hit. One of my frustration points with subs was the anti-sub warfare was a little lacking. So anything to balance that out and make it more entertaining, both for the sub and for the ship on top, is going to be a benefit.
Yeah. Well, the new, I think there's a new anti-submarine warfare option, which is the strike planes, basically, that you can sort of, I think it's like a point and click where you tell it to go somewhere and then it just depth charges the shit out of whatever happens to be in that area. That was the option they had said they were going to implement for heavy cruisers and battleships, but we still don't really know. Now they're taking away the hydrophone that destroyers have, in theory, because subs won't be able to submerge forever. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna withhold judgment, partly just because I don't want to think about it until it happens. But I think the fact that it's happening in ranked first, I know why. I didn't have this confirmed, but like I'm positive I know why it is, and it's because I have this feeling like Wargaming is reacting to the accusations that they don't test this stuff before they implement it. And I hear that accusation a lot when something comes out. Deadeye was a really good one. What? You guys didn't test this? You guys didn't test this at all? How could you put something in that you didn't test properly? And that's the one that actually made me remember and go, I think we might be wrong here. Because, I mean, the Commander's rework skill server was available for anybody who wanted to play it. You could try those things and test it. And I don't remember anyone complaining about Deadeye during that time. And then it comes out, and all of a sudden everyone's forced to use it. Sorry, forced to play in a game that has it. And then everyone freaks out and goes, why didn't you, it's like, well, I'll fully admit that I didn't test Deadeye in the test server. I looked at the skills and went, is that going to be a problem? No. But I didn't foresee that, people are going to stay back because they're going to be afraid of losing their bonus of Deadeye. I didn't see that coming. And I'll take responsibility for that. But I have this feeling like the reason they're doing it in ranked is to force people to test it so that any problems that come up with it, they can get as many eyes and as many critical voices on it as possible so they can find it. Now, whether that's a good way to test something, I don't know. They're going to piss a lot of people off in a game mode that is still recovering from a recent change that pissed a whole bunch of people off. I think ranked is fine right now, by the way. All of you whiny little children can you can write me a letter on a piece of Kleenex and send it to me. But
yeah, Bugsy, I have mentioned before that in the old form of ranked, I just simply didn't play, or I played only a couple games. I was not a big ranked fan in general. It's a lot of salt, and there's something to be said for the guys who would rank out in a very small amount of games, but after that it becomes a war of attrition.
Yeah.
With the new ranked, I've played a little bit the last couple of weeks simply for the resources, and because now it's easy to pop in there, rank out in bronze, get your max number of wins in silver, and rinse and repeat, and have some steel and stuff incoming. I think what we may see is kind of what you alluded to. Ranked might become the new test server, really, in all practical terms, because if they make the rewards good enough, they will get a pool of players that is a cross section of the people who play randoms, because we've all played ranked, and I have some guys who are like, I have some friends who very casually play this game occasionally, and they talk to me because they know that I'm a little more serious about it and run a clan and everything else. And they're like, you ranked is great because you get good teams and they know what they're doing. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, you have, go play some Bronze League ranked. It's
right.
Not. But that's how they could test something with a cross section of the players who closely represent, or at least somewhat represent, the public community, because you're going to get some very, very good players who are always going to play ranked and want to rank out, and you're going to get a bunch of other more casual players, and you're going to get a big pool of games to look at data on. And I think that's the issue with the test server. There was never a big enough pool of real games with all humans on each side, and ranked is now a way they're going to try to test stuff.
I think that sounds pretty apt to me. What do you think, Skills? Do you think that's the right path?
It's sad. I think you're right on with a good test pathway, but I liked rank. I liked what it stood for. I was one of those ranked hardy, like, ever since the game, I got into the game and I found out what ranked was. I really wanted to excel in the old version of what ranked was, and was really proud of getting the rank 1 badge in,
Mm-hmm.
you know, at one point. You know, I was like, man, that is a cool thing to have done. The new rank doesn't have the same appeal. It's definitely, it feels a little bit closer to random. And so I feel like your test bed concept is a genuine possibility. But again, it takes me from, you know, it's like, oh man, I kind of miss old rank.
Yeah.
You know, that whole competitive aspect of it.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's you're right. The new rank system I think is a little friendlier to get into, but it does have a slightly less. It carries a little less weight when you do rank out. It's not quite the badge of honor, I suppose, that it used to be. Maybe because it's more common. Maybe just because it's around longer and more consistently than ranked used to be. You think that might be a case? Sorry, I realized I just threw a question to 3 people with no indication. I mean, Raptor, do you think that might be a reason why people don't find it quite as what would the word be? I guess quite as distinguished, maybe.
I'm not one of those that play a lot of ranked, so I do it as more of a casual. I consider myself more of a casual player. But I know when I saw the rank 1 badge, and it was like Skill said, that was someone that took the game serious and had to put that level of effort in. And now with the current rank, it feels, I know it still takes a lot of effort and time, and a lot of people, I think I heard someone posted 65 wins to get out of rank 1 on gold or something. It was like a horrendous amount.
Huh.
It feels like more of it's a time grind.
Wow. Well, it is a little bit of a time grind.
You know,
yeah, go ahead.
the other thing is that the new ranked, it takes longer. You know, the old ranked was incredibly difficult and you took every game seriously, and yet you were still, you know, if you were going to rank out, you were still in the 150 games, 200. Now I'm doing 100 games in silver just to get the, you know, just it, and it doesn't even have as many stars. It's just,
yeah,
it's different.
That's interesting.
You know.
So here's the last bit of new news. Attack aircrafts are going to be changed so that when the rockets, before they're fired, you're going to see machine gun fire in the direction of where the rockets are going to be launched. So in theory, just before the rockets launch, you're going to have a warning of tracers of machine gun fire where it's going to land. And I believe, you know, the goal of this is to give the opportunity for a little better counterplay, especially for ships that are maneuverable fast, DD, some cruisers, things like that. What do you guys think of that? Maybe start with Skills.
This is the first I heard of it. It'll be interesting to see how that impacts the counterplay. At least in this manner, it's not like an automated consumable.
Correct.
Which was kind of what I would have worried about for the depth charging planes. It seems like an automated consumable, you know, kind of like your AA range.
Right.
Anything that makes the gameplay more interactive. So it's possible that it's a good thing. But again, it's my first time. I have to kind of think about it.
Sure, yeah.
How about you, Raptor?
It's the first I've heard of it. I mean, I don't think knowing where the rockets are going to hit you, because if an AP rocket's going to hit you and hit your citadel, and how are you going to counter that? You can turn more, but it still overmatches. So, okay, cool, sure, I guess.
I think it will increase the skill gap between the very, very best CVs and other CVs. I also think it will be an advantage to the very, very best destroyer players and some cruisers. Like you said, AP rockets, like if you're in a heavy cruiser broadside and AP rockets are coming in, a little bit of warning isn't going to do a ton of good. Right, but if you're in a Kleber or a Marceau or a Daring, I don't know Daring, but you know, some of the DDs, and you're able to maneuver a little bit. I think seeing it in practice will help us see what difference it'll make. But I think you're going to have the Super Unicum CV players and DD players benefit from it. And I think you're going to see some of the CV players who are in that next level not have the rocket attacks be as effective.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You know, screen screen realty might become a thing with all the warnings in battle.
Screen
So,
realty?
let's say screen realty. You got the torpedoes coming in. You've got incoming fire. You've got maybe a fire on your ship. And you already got like your eyes are saturated already, and now you're gonna
Yeah.
see these little laser bits come at you.
Dude,
Like,
I'm all about that. So here's what I want. I want Wargaming to allow us to buy in-game ad space so that like next time the the you've been spotted indicator comes up, it says you've been spotted, brought to you by TNG. That's what I want right there.
You're gonna spend TNG's port oil on having a patch somewhere in the game. TNG's logo show up.
Hell yeah, man.
He's the guy from Ready Player One. If you've seen that, he's like, I can sell 90% of the visual ad space of someone before they have a seizure.
Oh wow. Lord. Well, so let's wrap things up here, guys. Before we go to Sink a Ship, I want to remind everybody that KOTS is still another 2 weekends. So please, if you are interested in watching KOTS, please start at my channel. I am casting some of the games, and if you're looking for other games, we can help you find out where those are and who's casting them. That being said, I also stream on Twitch, so if you ever have questions about the game or you want to just hear a guy talk to himself, please come check me out on Twitch. It's Bogsy Time is the name. Other than that, we're going to be including links for TKS and Red Sky and anything else these gentlemen would like to share so that if you are interested in applying to these clans or you want to get to know more about them or their communities, you absolutely can do that. Is there anything else before we sink a ship? Anything else
You guys
to plug?
didn't mention what you guys never brought up why we chose the Holland for QQ7 match.
Oh, shit. Why did you choose a Hound?
I was like waiting for that one the whole time.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
Well, if you think about it, right, it has a heal as well as and you guys mentioned it's constantly sending torps. And if you watch a lot of the top clans, the fight is generally in the south, and they're trying to draw you to the south, and they push the north. And if you're talking about area denial, the mental game says they always knows there's torps coming every 60 seconds or less.
That's a really smart way to think about it. I had not.
And they never push. If you watch, they never push the corner because Punter was up there just constantly stalling them out, and then the Kleber was, you guys said it, damage saturation. So he lived so that Fink and Idai could get the kill on the Yamato.
Yeah. I'm going to be putting that match up on YouTube at some point. I haven't done so yet. Forgive me. I've been a little bit lazy about that, but it's really an awesome match to watch. So I encourage you to go check that out and check out these clans. These guys are, obviously a lot of fun and have good cultures with them. So,
yeah, and I don't think we have a streamer schedule yet for Saturday and Sunday, but a little shout out for my guys on the KSC and the KSF teams. We got 2 teams that made the playoffs, and looking forward to some good matches this weekend. And if you're not watching us, watch Bogsy and Oskans.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, we won't be able to cast the KS matches as Oskans is a member of Clan KSC, and we're not allowed to cast those. But good luck to them, and good luck to everybody. So let's have you guys sink a ship. Of course, sink a ship is where you basically we're going to have you guys go in as if these ships in this game were matches in KOTS, and somebody had a technical difficulty, and you have to force one of these ships to forfeit and kick it out of the tournament. I don't know why we'd come up with that example as a hypothetical, but if you had to completely remove one ship from the game, what would it be? Skills, you're up first. Make it good.
My memory really did not like the QE at all, but my recent memory says the Tier 7 Italian battleship needs to go yesterday.
The Caracciolo.
Yeah, oh my god.
Why?
Oh my gosh.
Why?
I get so frustrated with that ship. I can't hit anything. 6K, 10K, 12K, one shot, just it doesn't make sense to me.
It sounds like TKS privilege to me, expecting their shots to hit. Does that sound like TKS privilege to you, Borla?
Yeah.
Expecting your shots to land. Good lord. Raptor, what about you? What do you want to sink? Sink a ship.
I would constantly sink the Petro. Stalin should not be reaching out from the cold depths of hell, making a ship that just won't die.
I see. I think the Petro that you just sank may be in good company, as many Petros have been sank on Get to Know World of Warships past.
I was gonna say no tears were shed.
No tier 10s, no tier 9s, no tier 7s, and no tiers.
Hey, when the global band was like, what, 90% get rid of this ship, it needs to be fixed or gone, I think that said enough.
It was definitely the overwhelming vote for being kicked out of KOTS, and it was, in fact. So we'll see if Wargaming decides to remove it from the clan battle season coming up here. And if that happens, I think that would shake up the meta distinctly, if I'm being honest. So, well, gentlemen, is there anything else for the good of the order? Borla?
No, everybody have a good weekend with KOTS. I hope your casting goes... you and Oscons do a good job. I really like watching you guys... any of the games that I wasn't playing, I was watching you guys, and I really like the way you cover things.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Skills, is there anything else you'd like to cover for the good of the order?
Really appreciate you guys having us on. It was kind of a thing for the clan TKS to get the moment to be invited to one of these podcasts.
Oh,
so
hey.
I appreciate it.
Our pleasure, man. You guys did a great job.
And in terms of KOTS, any of the teams that are still in it, man, good luck. Looking forward to facing you guys next year, and continue to win, guys. Good job.
Hell yeah. How about you, Raptor? Anything else?
No, I second what Skill said, and you know, it was a great KOTS, and again, thank you guys for inviting us on here. Little clan out of nowhere, right? Being invited on, so appreciate it.
Hey, man, it's our pleasure. We're always looking for good people to chat with and shed some light and some opinions on what's going on in the game. So, without further ado, thank you all very much for listening. We always appreciate it. We'll catch you guys next time on Get to Know World of Warships.